Hi, welcome to Box on the Box Rock and Celluloid, Bok for short, I'm over Box. So basically at 9 o'clock this morning, I went to view the new James Bond film, No Time to Die. I always do that when a Bond comes out, go the first thing in the morning to see it, did with Skyfall, Die Another Day, Casino Royale, Quantum, Spectre, well not Spectre actually, that was an odd one out there. I would have gone at 1 minute past 12 last night in Thursday morning, but I would just be too tired. But what I'm going to do is just pat about the Daniel Craig era, just go through the film's initial recap, and then do a short review, spoiler free, of No Time to Die. Then that is the cut-off point for people who haven't seen the film. Then I will start up again and I will do a spoiler version of the review and discuss it in more detail, because there's nothing worse. Every time you watch a trailer for these films, it ruins it. I've actually shut my eyes in the cinema, but even just seeing the bits of trailer and clips that I have, it does, you do start to think, oh, what's happening here? What they're going to do there? So obviously the Daniel era started with Casino Royale, took everyone by surprise with this incredible reboot, this new kind of three-dimensional James Bond for the 21st century. Daniel Craig buffed up, great. Watched Casino Royale the other day. The great things still stand out. Daniel's great. Vesper Lynd's great. Eva Green, probably the all-time greatest Bond woman. Mads Mikkelsen's fantastic, and we know how good he is now. Really good music score, David Arnold. Fantastic pre-credit sequence, gritty and low-key. That fantastic free-running sequence. The scene at Miami Airport, great. And the gambling bits, all spot on. Ticks every box, apart from that last act, the final third. It's just still a bit convoluted for me. My wife was just saying, well, like, what's going on here? And we kind of worked it out. But it's still a bit vague. And the pacing, it's a little long. And that's a problem with the Daniel Craig films. They're all too long, really. A typical Bond film should be 130 minutes long, I think. Whereas Daniel's films have all been 140 minutes plus, and the new one is 160 minutes plus. But that aside, it's still a 9 out of 10. It's still in the top 2 or 3 Bond films of all time. So that's Casino Royale. Then Quantum of Solace came along. There was a writer's strike. They started shooting it without a script. And when I was watching it the other night, we did something. I saw an article on YouTube that suggested watching them back-to-back, Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. So we tried that, and in actual fact, that it made Quantum of Solace worse than it's ever been. I actually think Quantum of Solace is probably my least favourite Bond film now. I'm going to do a re-ranking my Bond list. There's a lot of Bond videos coming. We're going to be doing the villains, well, me. We're going to do Bond girls, loads of shit. Like, I've just dropped a little kind of Bond piece of music today because I'm obsessed. I'm just that way. So Quantum, like, it's just a mess. And even Daniel's kind of, because there's not the script there, even his hair's bad. It's by far his worst performance as Bond, his least good. Terrible use of Gemma Arterton, really bad. Olga Kurylenko is underwritten. Matthew Amalric, maybe the worst villain. I just can't stand Dominic Green. Matthew Amalric's a really good actor. Diving Bell and the Butterfly. That's the problem with this film. It just wastes everyone, apart from Mathis. I forget the name of the Italian actor. Even M's a bit annoying. The editing's jumpy. The music's good, but not as good. The theme song's not good. The pre-credits isn't as good. The credit sequence isn't Daniel Kleinman. That's not as good. So it's like a 4 out of 10. My wife said anyway, this film's boring. And it's the shortest Bond film. You can't wait for it to finish. Well, shortest recent one. So that was like not a revelation, but I was just hoping that Quantum would kind of reveal more. But it just revealed its problems. And it's the classic thing. Hitchcock said, what's the most important part of the film? So there's 3 things: the script, and the script. If you haven't got a workable shooting script, if you have nothing to pin stuff on, why they did just hire loads of writers in the week before the writers' strike, I don't know. Anyway. Okay, so that's Quantum. Skyfall came next. This was Sam Mendes bringing in a kind of bigger scale filmmaker. Sam Mendes started to bring in tribute elements, which I liked. There's a little Live and Let Die tribute in it, a little Noster Gold thing, although I didn't quite like him having the button on the car. That's Sean Connery. What I liked with Skyfall, had a good 3-act structure. It's the first Daniel Craig era with a good 3-act structure. Now, some people don't like the way he went back to his house. But I like that. I like the climax. Javier Bardem was good from the camp. Very well cast. Lots of great sequences. The fight sequence, assassination type sequence in Beijing. I think it's Beijing or is it Shanghai? Great pre-credit sequence. Really good score by Thomas Newman doing his first score. Daniel's great. Moneypenny, Ray Fiennes, really good, and that really moving final scene with them, and that's something that this Daniel Craig era introduces emotion. That's the third dimension. I mean, Bond could sometimes get a bit angry. Timothy Dalton introduced that. Brosnan carried with that. Even Roger Moore showed some anger and some depth. Connery, I think you realise Connery's wonderful performance, but effect is a one-dimensional thing. He's just a cipher. Then Lazenby, obviously has the romance, but he hasn't got the acting chops to kind of pull it off, really. And then you got Roger Moore. Yeah, he's seen as a daft Bond, but check out the kind of tough character bit with Anya in Spy Love Me, or the bit where he kills Locke in For Eyes Only. So even Roger Moore was probing a little more, or being probed more. That sounds terrible, being probed. I'm going to probe you, Mr. Bond, more so than Connery. And then you got Dalton, obviously, bringing in the professionalism and the kind of more internal dialogue, I suppose, with the character. And then Brosnan kind of bringing those together in a kind of best of James Bond performance up to that point. And then obviously Daniel Craig taking it further and adding that emotion and third dimension. So Skyfall, really good, 8 out of 10, and copying the Batman films really, by going back to his house, and you can see the influence of other things, and then Spectre dropped the ball. The first half of Spectre is really good. Then it goes to the Alpine place where Madeline Swan works, and that's okay. And then they go to Morocco, Tangiers, and they find her father's, special room. And then it starts to fall apart. I think the disappointing thing with that film is they go to Blofeld's lair at the end. And they just get away so easily, and she seems to fall for James Bond really easily. And I don't think her character's very good in that film. I don't think her performance it's not fleshed out. It rings hollow, the whole romance. And then the film should climax with the explosion of Blofeld's place, but it's done really quickly, and then he goes back to London, and there's that kind of tacked on ending. But it's good fun the way he uses the team in that. So it's kind of 5 out of 10 with Spectre. Mendes, lovely opening shot, but he kind of draws attention to himself with that opening shot. Look what I can do. And the director should never draw attention to themselves in a Bond film. Bond is the star, and we'll come to that. Some more about that, but Spectre, disappointing, bloated as well, but not a bad James Bond. I think Quantum of Solace is like it's in that bad Bond along with Die Another Day and maybe View to Kill, even though I've got a soft spot for View to Kill now. Spectre's in kind of bloated, boring Bond with World's Not Enough. Okay, so that's a kind of brief thing in the Daniel Craig era. So spoiler free, No Time to Die review. This is a really good. It signs off the Daniel Craig era really well. It gives him the send off his era deserves, and this has never happened before in a Bond film where, usually the actors like, oh well, I'll come back for another one, and then something happens and they don't. We've kind of known this is his last film, so the filmmakers, the Broccolis and the director will be able to take stock of that. We'll never know what the Danny Boyle version was going to be like, but Carrie Joy Funkanagua, I think that's Funkanagua, has done a great job. People won't be that aware of his work. He did Beast of No Nation for Netflix with Idris Elba, which is a really good film. And then True Detectives, his big sort of TV piece, which he was critically acclaimed for. He's great. He moves the camera really well. The photography is excellent. He brings back a bit of the gloss, the shine, which I think you'll enjoy. The action's first rate. The editing's not choppy. It's got good geography, and even though he's an American, he kind of gets the sensibility and he knows how to stage Bond scenes. All the cast's good. The film's well cast. The regulars are back. You'll know that. Moneypenny, Tanner, Rory Kinnear, probably an underrated character. Back Tanner, Chief of Staff, Bill Tanner, really good. Obviously Q, as usual. And the other new characters and the villain, Rami Malek. It's all really good. Is it too long? Yeah, all the Daniel Craig films are too long, although it didn't kind of feel any longer than the previous ones. 163 minutes is epic, but I was glued to my seat. this wouldn't kind of spoil anything. The Billie Eilish song, I'm releasing my top. You know, you will have seen or you might have seen my top 25 Bond songs, and I put Billie Eilish at the bottom. I still don't like it, but the song works well in the credit sequence. It's just the vocals I don't like, and I feel the same way about the Sam Smith one. With respect to the orchestration, the song's good. It's just their vocals, I suppose. What else can I say about it? Yeah, it's got some nice nods. I think the director, he's kind of got a bit more discipline than I think Stan Mendes came and stuck with Spectre. I think I was talking to a mate the other day. I think it's always a mistake when a Bond director does 2 films on the trot. If you look at that, it very rarely works. Although I think Guy Hamilton did quite a good run there. Yeah, I think the direction's kind of the thing that kind of jumps out of like, yeah, this guy's done a really good job. Daniel does a great performance, and I've put this performance in this film up with his Casino Royale. So when he did Casino Royale, although his other Bond performances, maybe save Quantum, are excellent, Skyfall came close to getting that high. In actual fact, he's great in Spectre. But this, he kind of, really good. So I'll not say anything more than that. I'm somewhere between a 7 and 8 out of 10. It's probably going to push an 8, I would think. And it may go one more, I need to see it again. But it's a big spectacle. This is a full-on James Bond film. So enjoy. Okay, so we're on 11 minutes and 17 seconds. I've waffled. I've talked about Daniel Craig era. So I'm now going to do a spoiler review of this. So you need to switch off now. It's really important, because if you don't, then you're going to be really fucked off with me. And that's not my fault, because I've told you. Okay, so here is the spoiler review. Okay, so if you saw the trailer, very early on, the scenes in Italy which are in the trailer of Aston Martin, which is the annoying thing about trailers, I kind of sussed out that this is the start of the film. It was basically that this was the carrying on almost immediately after Spectre, and that's what happens. He's gone off gallivanting with Madeline Swan, and you have the scene. It's a lovely town in Italy. This is a beautifully shot sequence. The photography's glossy. Lea Seydoux looks beautiful. She looks great. We'll come to her performance in a bit. Daniel looks great. He's looking old. He's looking a bit more craggy, but fucking class. Really well shot. I wish I hadn't seen the trailer. So you got the top motorcycle jump, but this whole sequence lasts 23 minutes, so it's very long. So prior to this, obviously you're watching this, you've seen the film, there's the sequence with Madeline. I thought it was really bold. So when have we ever seen a child in a James Bond film? That was a foreshadow of what's to come in the film. Opening with a kid. The last time I can remember a kid being in a James Bond film was when Roger Moore chucks the lad off the little boat in Man with a Golden Gun. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was really creepy, the opening. I really liked the way that was done, and the introduction of the Safin character and the mask. Really, really kind of good. And then, yeah, obviously it went into that credit sequence. I really enjoyed all that bit. And the bit with the bulletproof glass as well in Aston Martin, the kind of physical violence, so that was great. That was really cool. And, Bond there, all stoic and angry. Yeah, really cool opening. And then he went into the credit sequence, and the eagle-eyed will have spotted the first reference really well. There was the chase with Aston Martin at the start was obviously referencing Goldfinger, because it brought out the gadgets on the DB5, and I thought that was done well. I thought the director handled that better than Mendes did with the jokey bit in Skyfall. So I actually liked the way he did that. Yes, so you had the dots. So it had the circular dots at the start, and that is mirroring the graphics at the start of the Doctor No credit sequence going back to 1962. Credits were quite subdued on this, not Daniel Clowden's best. But then again, I'll have to say it again, I quite like them, they're quite sparse. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I think it was one of those things where they weren't sure how to kind of visualise the themes of the film with Spectre. You got the octopus and that, and obviously the Skyfall one's great. It basically tells the film. If you haven't watched the film, you'd think, all these images, but you've seen the film, like, it's basically telling the story of the film. Obviously the Casino Royale one's superb sequence, but the Billie Eilish song worked well. I just don't like a vocal style. Okay, so then he went into the opening film and Daniel in Jamaica. So again, another reference to Doctor No. That was good, and the introduction of Lashana Lynch's character, that was cool. I liked her character. I thought it was really savvy of the producers making her like a female agent, and she has the 00 number, because 007 is just a number. You know, it's James Bond that's the character. You know, we've heard like 003 getting killed or 009, and then, you know, the replaces. That doesn't bother me. You know, there's all this when's James? There's going to be a female James Bond. This fucking bullshit. Good, you know, Hans Zimmer's score as well. I don't think Hans Zimmer knocked it out of the park, but he did a really good job, like Thomas Newman. So there's good music cues from the start. Then obviously you introduced Bob Felix Leiter back, and that was a touching scene when Felix died. Probably Bond's only real friend, maybe apart from Moneypenny and Q, who are kind of friends. I loved the heist bit at the start where the Safin's agents, they went down, and then he did a cool thing, he had the camera upside down, he flipped it, and that was quite flashy, but I liked it. It was quite De Palma-esque. Some nice tracking shots, and that kind of struck me. I thought he achieved a really good balance, you know, the director. Then you had the bit in Cuba, so I've kind of got, that was before the Felix's death, but Ana de Armas wasn't in the film more. Like, I liked her, what was kind of a little supporting cameo part. I mean, she's a very beautiful actress, and she'd make a fantastic Bond woman, but she was great. It was quite fun. Her sequence was a bit daft, you know, with the Spectre having a party lounging around him, and it's like, you fucking idiots. There's a fucking octopus on the scene. So that was quite funny, that. But it was a good shoot, and again, the editing and the geography of the scene was good fun. You know, had some playful elements there. Obviously, Bond went back to London. It's good scenes with them. Ralph Fiennes looking a bit more, looking like he's put on a bit of weight since the last one, but like Ralph Fiennes as them. A lovely touch there with the different portraits of them as well. You had the Robert Brown. I didn't catch Bernard Lee, but I guess he was there. And, of course, Judi Dench. Unfortunately, I had several coffees before the film, and I needed a piss desperately. We'll come to that. I had to go out for like 1 minute. I literally ran to the toilet, and the piss was taking ages. But anyway, that's more than you need to know. Then there was the bit where he went to interview Blofeld. That was cool. So this was one of the first bits where they were taking Fleming. So in the You Only Live Twice book, basically Bond, end of Her Majesty's Secret Service, Bond, his wife is killed. He gets really depressed, and M sends him on an impossible mission. At the end of that, Blofeld, he kills me, he says, "Die, Blofeld, die." So that was lifted from that. And then I might as well jump ahead with this. This is the other You Only Live Twice book reference, is Blofeld has a death garden, a suicide garden, where he grows plants that can kill you. And obviously they've taken that plot and put Safin on this island in between Japan and Russia, I think. And he has a death garden. So that was, it's weird, it's kind of mixing, obviously it had the music cues of All the Time in the World at the start. In actual fact, people might have seen George Lazenby tweeted earlier in the week and said, "Oh, I just went to see the new Bond film, and some interesting musical cues," was what he said, I think. So anyway, so they were kind of taking a bit of Majesty's Secret Service with his cues and kind of flipping it onto Bond rather than tracing away with the way things were going to pan out. And then you have, of course, taking the plot from You Only Live Twice book, which comes after on the Majesty's Secret Service. Okay. Other references, obviously, The Living Daylights, bringing out the Aston Martin Volante. That was really cool. Nice to see Dalton, a bit of Dalton era again. And there's a few, that was it as well. Another reference from a Fleming book is, in the Live and Let Die book, he goes bar hopping with Felix. So when he met him in Jamaica and went to the bar, they're like playing a game. And I think that was inspired. And, you know, it was kind of focusing on having a drink and getting around. And I think that was kind of distilling that bit from the Live and Let Die book and showing the bond between Felix and Bond. And that was really good. The guy who betrayed Felix, I didn't think much of him. He kind of reminded me of the slimy American guy who's the stockbroker type guy on License to Kill. But anyway, Daniel flattened him. So yeah, there's a cool bit, the revelation. So they went to Madeline's house. That was a really cool sequence in Austria, lovely bridge. And then I needed to go for a piss, so I ran out, went back in, and then I saw the child, and she's like, "It's not yours," but I think we all knew it was James's. So, prior to this, bloody media put out rumours, "Oh, he's going to be a dad," and stuff like this. There's this, there's that, and it's just fucking annoying. Just fuck off. But anyway, that, people will be shocked by that, but James Bond's been shagging women for years, so he's probably got more kids than one. Seriously, I think this was like a bold move. One of many in this film that was successful. I think that's the thing with this film. It kind of has its cake and eat it. It's bold. It's got bold sweeps that are new for the Bond series, but at the same time, it's this big Bond spectacle. I wasn't expecting it to be what I call a Lewis Gilbert Bond, but it was in a way. With a climax with the villain's lair, it was pure Spy Love Me, You Only Live Twice. That big spectacle with and the architecture of his lair was a bit like Drax's and Moonraker. Thought that was really cool. I'm just looking at my notes in terms of references, and I think I've gone through them all. The sort of the other one I noticed was in the climax, his combat fatigues. He kind of had that blue jumper on, your army SS type jumper. It reminded me a bit of Brosnan in GoldenEye when he's in kind of soldier mode in the climax. But that was cool, and I thought it was a lovely touch when he gave his daughter the jumper. Yeah, and then the ending. I felt they could have used the Rami Malek character more. I liked Rami Malek's performance. I'm kind of, I felt he was really good. They just could have done a bit more with him. It's a lot to take in, the film. That was it as well. Hans Zimmer, there was a cue from Secret Service, the main theme as well. So I'm jumping ahead and behind, but I think about the climax, I think you can see it was a Dark Knight Rises ending, so you can see the influence of the Batman to a certain extent, the Marvel films with the sacrifice of the main character. Obviously Batman doesn't die really in Dark Knight Rises, but as that influence has just kind of disappeared. But with this, Bond's died, you see him having a drink, and then Madeline's in the car, and it almost becomes like a weird bedtime story. And again, almost like literally like Fleming. But this is what I think, as I mentioned before, about the You Only Live Twice novel. So, Majesty's Secret Service novel, Bond's depressed because Tracy dies. At the start of the You Only Live Twice one, M sends him on an impossible mission that will shake him out of his depressive stupor, as it were. Well, not stupor, but his depressive would be. He goes to this island, tracks down Dr. Shatterhand, who's Blofeld. He avenges Tracy's death. He strangles Blofeld, Blofeld die. Then the island explodes, or something happens, and he falls into the sea and gets picked up, and he's got amnesia. And I'm not sure, I can't remember where he's hiding out, but he's got amnesia. So this is what I think the Bond producers will do. I think the next actor they cast, they may start the film off that moment, just as a missile's about to hit, Bond escapes, gets knocked out, and your new actor goes into his next adventure. And obviously he's got the nanobot things and he can't see his partner and child or something like that. And then that could maybe be something that introduced down the line. You think about the Mission Impossible films, the way they've Tom Cruise's kind of first wife ways, he's looked at her from afar. Okay, so you could maybe have the new actor being shot, composited into that final scene, or just reshoot the scene. The missiles hit, he goes in the water, kind of Bourne-ish, I suppose, and James Bond's kind of resurrected, something like that. So I've probably been a bit convoluted this spoiler review. I need to see it again, but it's definitely a lot of fun, and it's a big James Bond film. Kind of like I say, I was kind of expecting it, to be big, but not as Lewis Gilbert as it is, and I enjoyed that. That was a pleasant surprise. All the bold moves on it. Let's see. The other thing I would say, it was really savvy as well, having a little girl speak French. Imagine if she spoke English. Mammy, are we doing this? It just wouldn't work. The fact it had a subtitle in French, it kind of took that kind of saccharine element out of it. And, if, it hadn't had that, it could have just got the wrong tone, It is James Bond we're talking about here, he doesn't do the fucking school run. Okay. Just finally, we'll say, like Daniel Craig, thought he knocked it out of the park. It was a great performance. I really like the bit actually at the end. The camera's tracking up the stairs. That was a really good long take. He's going up the stairs shooting all the guys in the in Safin's lair, and I was really engrossed in the scene, and I realised, oh, this is all in one pass. And again, I thought so the skill of the director, he didn't draw attention to the camera. And then there was a couple where it exploded the guy's eyes, which was really daft and that cheesy one-liner, but that was fun. It was great to see that. You know, you want your Bond henchman getting, you know, mincemeated or something like that, you know. So that was good. Yeah. So that's the end of the Daniel Craig era. You know, feel quite emotional really, because it's been a mixed ride, but when it's been good, it's taken James Bond places we didn't think. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.